Hey, good morning to you. Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Live. And for those that haven't heard it yet today, a happy Women's Day to all the women of South Africa. Now, for our third and final bulletin this morning, I'm coming to you live from the Loftus Stadium, talking all things rugby and focusing on the Bulls Daisies. I am joined for this discussion by Vusiwe Ngcobo, who is the team manager for the Bulls Daisies. Alongside her is Renique Robert, who is the commercial manager for the Bulls. Good morning, ladies. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well.
Vusiwe, and of course here, Renique, happy Women's Day to you.
Happy Women's Day to you too.
We look back, Vusiwe, at Women's Day and the struggles that women have had in general before we even look at what happens in terms of sport and rugby in particular. When you look at how far we've come as women in sport and women in rugby, what are your first thoughts that come to mind?
I think, truthfully, we've come a long way. I mean, the Bulls Daisies are the first professional women's rugby team, and we're trying to be the trailblazers and set the tone in terms of how women's rugby should be seen in the country.
And you've really done a good job of that. I mean, when we look at some of those score lines, it's absolutely ridiculous. But Renique, for you, we look at women in sport and we look at the position that you hold within the Bulls. Not only are you restricted to being the commercial manager just for the women's team, but you're the overall commercial manager. What does that mean to you, and how do you think that inspires the next generation of women that want to one day be a Renique?
I think from my side, coming from a small start with cricket in East London to working my way up to basically the best rugby club in the world, I think it's up there with one of the best. But yeah, it's like just work. There's nothing else. It's a tough industry to breach. It's like, so just work hard, ladies. Yeah.
Work hard, put your best foot forward. Now, tell me a secret. Do you work hard or do you work smart? Because that's something we hear a lot as well within these circles of sports and being a commercial manager.
A bit of both. You can't move away from working hard because it's 7 days a week. 9 to 9 most days. So a bit of both. Hard work, smart work. Yeah.
Vusiwe, I want to talk to you about what would a typical day for you look like out as the team manager for the Bulls Daisies, because we've seen your schedule. It's very hectic, the schedule that the ladies have.
So the ladies, they train 4 times a week. And then during that time, I do my own administrative stuff that I have to do on the sidelines. And then I ensure that if there's anything, and especially for game prep and all those things, all of that I do ahead of schedule. And then when Saturday rolls around and we have a game coming, that's truly my time with them.
And what would you say are some of the challenges that you come across as a team manager in general, without looking at the little bits of details that are only specific to the Bulls Daisies? Because I'd assume with the setup that you guys have, there are some challenges that you don't face that other female teams do because of just how long perhaps they've taken to have a professional setup and have a team that is run like the Daisies.
I think just the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis is that we're not trying to take over the rugby space. We're just trying to be part of it. And I think when you have a company that supports you 100% and wants to see the women in the industry, especially for rugby, and want to set that precedent and move forward and everything, then it's easier to move forward when you have people like my supervisor, Mr. Manana, who truly is setting the stage for women's rugby and is truly fighting the good fight out there.
And I mean, Vusiwe touches on Tando Manana. How important is it I know we say that as women in sport, we're trying to elevate, we're trying to get to the next level, we're trying to close the visibility gap, but we can't do it on our own. We do need the men that are within these circles to also support us. So how far do you feel that support comes, being able to have the men that have paved the way, not only for themselves, but now are doing the same for women as well?
Very important, like Tando, our CEO, Edgar Rathbone. I mean, they've tried to ensure that the Bulls Daisies get all the support commercially from our great sponsors like Isuzu and GP Consult, that like they don't hesitate to show the same value as they show the Vodacom Bulls, the Bulls Daisies. So the Bulls Daisies run out, they feature the same as the Vodacom Bulls. Yeah.
When we look at the competition and what the Bulls Daises have been able to do in the past couple of seasons, just in terms of their dominance, how much of that would you attribute to having a good financial setup within the club and women being able to have those professional contracts and being able to focus on rugby solely?
I mean, when you have the financial setup where players are strictly, their 9 to 5 is just rugby, then they're able to focus and dedicate all of their time towards the sport itself. And it's so important that you need that financial backing, so women are then also able to just solely focus on what is essential for them to be and dominate on that field.
I want to speak now openly, and we just need to be candid about it, Renique, because we will hear sometimes women say it's perhaps difficult for others to need to report to a female because we just have that mngani buddy thing going on, or just being undermined because you're a woman and you're young. Do you feel you've come across those challenges previously where you just have to assert your authority, and for you, Aksenani, say, I'm the team manager here, this is what I'm saying, this is what needs to be done, and almost put your foot down in certain instances, having to demand that respect, whether it's here or elsewhere within the rugby world?
100%. We try to, not that you're trying to say I'm the commercial manager, I'm the boss or whatever, but you do have to assert yourself in that role, because we can't be, when it's professional, you can't be chommy basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to do it in a nice way, but you have to assert yourself in that role.
And for you?
I would say, you're not coming out elbows out or trying to swing on anybody. It's more, like Renique said, we're trying to just be assertive and make sure that when I state a point, it's very much my point. But you want to make sure that also you have those moments of where you can be like, listen, and be candid with your colleagues and just be like, hey, if I need help, especially I think in this workplace where it's a lot of women supporting women. So we're trying to, I would say, have each other's backs in a way, and then be there for each other in those tough times.
Let's go a little bit deeper about having each other's backs, because because sometimes people will have this sense of, if I help Renique do well, it almost takes away from my success. If I help Aksenani do well, it takes away from my success. How important is that woman-to-woman support, and just realize that helping the next woman be better and do better and get better doesn't diminish what you're able to do and what you're able to achieve in your own success?
I will say it's almost, it should be part of every space that we enter into as women, especially in the sporting world, because there's very few and far of us between. So I think we need to be there for each other and make sure that we're able to, while we're colleagues on a day-to-day basis, we're also there to, when you have those tough times or someone's just like, hey, can you, just watch out for me for a little bit, then that's something that I think should be available in the workspace.
And of course, today is a Women's Day out here in South Africa, celebrating in Bogoto. As I start to wrap up with you ladies, I'm going to start with you, Renique. Your message to the women of South Africa, whether or not they are in sport, to the young girl child that is being inspired by you, what do you want to say to them in this moment?
I think believe in yourself, be that girl, just be that girl. No matter what, be that girl in whichever industry you're in, just be that girl. Yeah, and happy Women's Day. Thank you.
Renique's parting shot, be that girl. And for you, Aksenani, as we wrap up and say goodbye to our viewers at home for today, what do you want to say to them, and what can we expect from the Bulls Daisies moving forward from here onwards?
To the women at home and the women of the country, I'll say, like Renique said, be that girl, but also make sure your voice is heard, and don't be loud, but be assertive. You must be that voice in that room. And for our finals tomorrow at 7:15, just after the men's match, you can expect, you'll have to come here and find out, honestly.
So those are the finals tomorrow, 7:15, right before the men's match.
Right after.
Right after the men's match.
Yeah.
So the men are the curtain raisers.
It's a double header. It's a double header.
I love that you're being politically correct. This is why you're the team manager. The women's Bulls Daisies team will be playing after the men's team tomorrow for that final. You can catch it, of course. And thank you so much to Renique Robert, who is the commercial manager out at the Bulls, as well as Aksenani Kumalo, who's the team manager for the Bulls Daisies. And happy Women's Day to all the women of South Africa out there. I hope that today you are celebrated as we should each and every single day. That's the note in which we'll wrap up your sport news for the week right here on Morning Live. I take you back now to studio with Leanne and Sakina. Have a blessed weekend.